It's your girl Deniese with Deniese IncTRU. Serene Saturday is here, where creativity supports wellness through art and music. We create space for honest expression, healthy release, and intentional reflection. Join us every Saturday, Serene Saturday with Deniese, powered by Deniese IncTRU.
Hi, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us again. This is your girl Deniese with Deniese IncTRU. Well, today we have our next guest, which is Jamar Bruce. Well, Jamar Bruce, he is a filmmaker, an author, as well as a mental health advocate. So we are so glad, and it is only fitting to have him here on a Serene Saturday to be able to come out into the show. So Jamar, thank you so much for coming to Deniese IncTRU Podcast. So I did want to start off by saying, for those that don't know about Jamar Bruce, could you tell a bit about yourself?
First, I do want to thank you again for having me, bringing me on your platform. Again, I'm so grateful for everything that you do and everything that you are doing to be a voice and just to, like I said, give other creatives a platform. So I'm really grateful. I really want to take time to thank you for that.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. So just a little bit about me. Again, Jamar Bruce, a dad, a filmmaker, mental health advocate, born and raised in Texarkana, Arkansas. Now reside in Houston, Texas.
Okay, Houston.
And Houston, Texas. Just trying to live and enjoy life.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's all I can say. Just trying to be the best that I can be with the time that I have here on earth to be able to help somebody. And like I said, that's where a lot of my work comes from when you think of Jamar, when it comes to mental health or when it comes to filmmaking, because again, that's a lot of what my work deals with, trying to help, inspire, uplift, and help people to be better people in today's society.
Okay, and I'm definitely happy that you continue to stay on that mission and have that drive and ambition to do so, to help other people, and you utilize it within your services of doing filmmaking, being a mental health advocate, and as an author. So with that, what made you decide that storytelling, like telling your story publicly, would be necessary, going through your books and so forth?
Again, I just always been one that I always wanted to help people. Just like I wrote in the book, there's a chapter in there what I speak about when I was a little kid. I can remember how I often would watch the news. Well, of course, you think about the news, which is a bunch of bad things happen on the news, really not, you think about it, really not anything that you really want people to watch, because you just see a bunch of bad things happening. So I just seen the news and the things that was happening around the world, different commercials, whether it's dealing like with homelessness or seeing kids that need food. So I always seen things like that as a young kid, and I always told myself that I wanted to do something in the world to make the world a better place, and be able to help people, because I seen the struggles that the world was dealing with at that time when I was young. Again, most people at that young age, you'll think I should be outside playing, playing with my cousins, or just outside playing football, doing kid things.
Right.
Not to say I did not do those things, but it was just something that was deep instilled in me that just really hurt me to see a lot of what was going on in the world. And so with that being said, that's when I began to get into the film industry, when I wanted to go to school, to go to KD Studios when I got in the film industry, because I knew that by writing films, you can be able to, again, inspire, uplift, and give hope to other people, because who don't go to the theater? A lot of people go to the movie theater. So I figured that by me doing that, writing films, I can be able to put work out there, again, that can be able to inspire, give hope, and uplift other people. And then it's just like with the book, I want to be open and transparent about things that I went through in my life, because again, you never know with your story. Yes, it's my story, but again, you never know who's dealing with certain situations that you might deal with in life. So a lot of us, we tend to hold a lot of things in, and just by me writing the book, my hope is that it will be able to open up, give somebody the courage and the strength to open up and share their story, and maybe they can relate to a lot of things that I went through growing up, or even to this day forward, to where they'll be able to open up and just share it with the world. Because again, you never know who you might change, who life you might touch. It only takes one person.
Right, just one person. So it's amazing that you say that. What stood out is that, so basically early on, you knew there was something different about you. You knew that a part of yourself is that you've always wanted to help people. So that's something natural for you. You've done it starting out, like for instance, like you'll be at home when you were a child, just playing and things like that. And instead of the natural instincts as a child, just wanted to naturally go out there and play, you were, like for instance, just looking at things and looking at like the news and things like that, just capturing moments to, as empathy and an empath, to see that, hey, this is something I want to be able to help these people. I want to be able to do something about this. So instead of just taking a stance of being going into those natural aspects as a kid, in which you still got to do those things, you also wanted to, in your heart, you wanted to still be able to help people at such an early age. And then coming on to having the book, being able to share a part of your story, you're doing this because you want somebody else to be able to heal, and you never know. Just you may touch that one person or many people, and it kind of make a trickling effect to for that person to help another person and so forth. So I like that that has always been a part of your journey, that you've been doing this. It's not just something that you're doing along the way, or just forcing to do it, but it's a part of who you are, even since you. So let's get into that a little bit more about your youth. So I know that you had within the book we were reading with our Deniese IncTRU live book reads. I noticed a lot of aspects and things that were occurring within your childhood experiences. So you spoke openly about different things such as bullying, abuse, and then also like feeling unseen growing up. When you look back now, what part of your younger self do you wish that someone had protected the most?
I would say what part of my younger self that I wish someone had protected the most was just making me feel seen. I felt that I wasn't seen a lot growing up from my mother and my father, or just making me feel loved.
Yeah.
Every child wants to feel that from their mother or from their father.
Yeah.
So I would say just like I felt I struggled with receiving that a lot. So.
Okay. Right. So that would be one of the things that you, as a child, like, and even going through now, if you could look back, that was one of the things that you would have wanted to have protected, and that was to feel seen and to feel loved by your parents. So I know that when we were reading, as you were saying, like being seen and feeling loved, I read a part of the book that was about the bleachers. It was called, there was a bleachers moment, and this was when you were playing football. So I do remember you stating one of those moments in which it felt like your mother, or your parents in general, but mostly mother, had been absent. You would always look out into the bleachers and notice that she was not there, and it made you feel a certain way. And especially with the you had mentioned in the book about like your sister, your mother, your parents would go and support her, and even until now, like those things were taking place. So how with those moments, or better yet, one of the moments, like that moment with the football game, that did stand out. So how did that shape the way that you understand love and validation today? Like how do you think about it today?
Well, by them not being there.
Well, let's see. Well, how do you understand love and validation based on that particular event that had occurred?
I mean, again, I just think like I felt it should have been like they should have been there again, because as my parents, as you haven't always been the type, even though there shouldn't be one child shouldn't be treated different from the other.
Yeah.
You should both have the equal love. Yeah. So again, I just feel like as my parents, they should have been there in support of what I was doing. Again, because it just kept trickling on, and what they don't realize, because I was already feeling unseen and unloved. Well, by the time I got to 8th grade and getting my sports, just constantly seeing it as a constant thing happen in my life, it just really started to turn to me into other ways that start showing up in my life in negative ways that I feel.
Yeah. So it ended up affecting you into a negative manner, and it continued like in other parts of your life, not having that sense of validation from your parents and support and love, not being seen. So I noticed now that we're talking about, like, for instance, the bleachers and whatnot that associates with speaking of sports, because you were speaking of your football games at that point. You weren't seeing them in the bleachers, the football games. So I noticed that kind of like there was a point in the book where it is stated like you were kind of escaping through sports. So football had become like a place where you could breathe and escape. I noticed like it gave you a bit of peace from one of the chapters that we read. So what did the game give you that life at home didn't, like, further?
I would say it gave me, again, just like the book said, to me it gave me peace. It gave me brotherhood, where I actually felt loved by other people. Just being around that group of people, being able to make friends, being able to have things I couldn't talk to my parents about. Yeah. Where I can talk to my teammates about, or even the coaches, because a lot of the coaches is like fathers as well. Yeah. So there's times I could talk to them about things. So it gave me just that security and that safety, just knowing that I had, them to go to open up to when I felt I couldn't open up to my parents in the household without being judged. So I didn't feel too much judged by them, because I always felt that I can go to them, whether it was my teammates or whether it was the coaches. Again, because we looked at them as like father figures, because we was around them a lot, especially during the fall time practices and then games, because you practicing 5 days a week, 4 days a week, then you have the games 1 day a week. So again, it just became more like a brotherhood, and then, like I said, the coaches became more like fathers to us. So I felt I can open up to them.
Okay, so you were able to get like that with the coaches, kind of like a male role model, a father figure, and then with your teammates, that was more like your support, your network, brotherhood that you were able to have, and all together it gave you that peace, kind of like a fellowship, a communion with your teammates. To be able to come to them and express yourself and feel like there was a no judgment zone, and something that like you felt that you weren't able to get those same things at home. So it's good that you were able to escape in a sort of way, but have a peace of mind and peace in general through the team. So I did also want to go on to say, like, some of those things it could affect you externally, internally. So if we go into like the internal scars, I do remember that you spoke about a scar on your ear and how it represented something deeper emotionally. So how long did it take for you to realize that healing the internal scars, it mattered more than the physical ones?
Healing the internal scars, how long did it take me? Honestly, I would say it took me a long time, and to be exact, 2025.
Okay, so it's like something that you just recently been able to grow into doing that. So, and for some people, it takes it takes a bit of time to be able to do that, because it's an evolving thing that you have to evolve onto. So you were able to evolve up into that point as of recent for last year to start to realize those things about how much it mattered in healing their internal scars as opposed to the physical ones. So with you healing your internal scars, I wanted to speak about like relationships and stuff. I noticed that you were mentioning stuff about how it made you feel like going to school, and then also in turn about your relationships, with the physical and internal scars. So I wanted to go over like radical honesty within that sense. So you were extremely honest. You were extremely honest in your book about certain things within relationships. Certain things like sexual choices, moments where you lost yourself, and then some tensions of possible infidelity, perhaps, within the relationship or marriage. So why was it important for you to include those parts instead of hiding them?
Again, I felt by me being open and honest. And this is the thing, when I wrote the book, even though I was writing it to help other people, it was also still helping me to heal as well.
Yeah.
So I felt by me just being open and honest, just letting that, just freeing myself from that, and just putting it out on paper, just realizing the mistakes and the choices that I made, it really opened my eyes to like, wow, like you really did this.
Yeah.
Because like I said in the book, I wrote about how I slept with over 50 women.
Yeah.
Something I still can't, it shocks me to this day that I did it.
Yeah.
So it's just little stuff like that. And then like as far as like the infidelity, just felt like, again, I wasn't getting what I needed in a relationship, didn't make it right.
Yeah.
But again, just going out, sleeping with other women, finding people off Craigslist, just doing a lot of prostitution, didn't make it right.
Yeah. Well, it's still good that you, like you say, you were able to be honest with yourself, be transparent, because you never know if it's someone else out there that's dealing with the same thing, having that similarity, or just really want to open up and give their truth, even maybe perhaps to their partner, maybe perhaps to their family, or just in general to themselves. So it's good that you were able to express and have that radical honesty throughout the book, because I for one, I appreciated it, that you were able to, because it made me, myself, be able to be a little bit more honest about certain things, because a part of myself, sometimes you can lie to yourself. So I started noticing I was doing the same thing, lying to myself over several years, and I had to heal those parts. As of recent, like you were saying, like for last year, you were able to heal certain internal scars. Well, I started noticing some internal scars of myself, and even like with my partner, like just me expressing certain things, certain behaviors, characteristics that I noticed. Being able to be open and honest helps, and radical honesty is definitely good to do.
Yeah, because to me too, I've learned that if you keep lying to yourself, it's hard to heal.
Yeah.
Because healing begins with honesty.
Yeah.
So that's something I had to really open myself to realize, that if I truly want to heal, I had to learn to be honest with myself.
Yeah.
Because again, that's the only way I was gonna heal. I kept going in cycles, kept lying to myself again, like I was telling you. Well, I've in all the relationships I've been in, and again, just dealing with my mental health. Each of those women have always told me like, you need help. Like there's something really going on with you. And like I would tell them like, who is you to tell me I need help? Again, it's because I knew I needed help, but I wasn't being honest with myself. Yeah, I was telling them even though I knew they was telling the truth. To me, I kept telling myself like, nah, I don't need help. Yeah. But it took me to be honest with myself and, to open up, to realize that, hey, I truly need help. And that's when I end up going to get my help from them.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you were able to take that step, because in you taking that step, you were able to create this and more to be able to help other people. So So that was something that you did. Instead of hiding it, you were able to express it openly, giving that radical honesty. So now, when you become honest, it gives you a place of peace. But I did notice, like in the book, you had mentioned something about chasing peace in the wrong places, right? So you had mentioned searching for peace through relationships, sex, and distraction. So what did real peace eventually look like for you? Like, what's some examples?
Real peace, I would say getting to know myself, who I was.
Yeah.
Loving myself. Again, because I always tell, like, how can you love somebody else if you truly don't love yourself?
Right.
So again, that's what peace to me look like, just being able to know who I was versus what the world or what anybody who in my past around me might see or call me. Just being able to know my heart and know who I was. Right. That's where I always found my peace.
Okay. So that is that's the real peace for you. You did eventually end up finding it, not through other people, not through situations, circumstances, but you were able to find your peace within by knowing yourself, knowing who you really are to the core, who you are, unveiled mainly. So even like being unveiled, I would say you're able to be unveiled to yourself, and then eventually being able to be unveiled to the ones that you love. So I would say for me, I'm able to now, with reading the book and then just being a little bit more open and honest with myself, I'm able to be more honest to, not that I wasn't before, but just, a little bit more honest to my family, even starting with my children. So I noticed for you had mentioned that you were a father. So I wanted to talk about fatherhood, being a father. So you talked about wanting your children to have a different experience than you did. What kind of father are you intentionally trying to be?
I'm trying to be a father. I'm trying to be better than what I seen growing up.
Yeah.
And I have, as I mentioned in the book, I will admit I haven't not been the best father that I can be, but I'm still working. I'm still work in progress.
Yeah.
And again, I want to be able to let my kids feel, not just know that I love them, but feel the love.
Yeah.
Be able to, regardless of my past mistakes, be able to not make those mistakes and make those choices that I made.
Yeah.
I left my older son this morning. I actually spoke to him. We was riding in the car before I actually dropped him back off.
Yeah, okay.
And he was just kind of just telling me a little bit about how he even wish I could be, I was a better dad. And even in the book, the part when I wrote that we got into it in New York, he brought that up. Mm-hmm. And so I gave the book to him to just, read it. And that was my way, because I've never apologized to him and told him of the things that, like, I'm sorry for not being there. So I gave him the book and he read the chapter of some things that I had to say. And it really touched him a lot. And I thought, and he told me prior to reading that he had a grudge against me. But after reading that, it was just like so much love. Just hearing my son, even though he's 20 years old now, just telling me, if you ever need anything, I know you're older than me, but just let me know. And just to hug me, I seen it in a whole different light. So again, I just want to be that father to be the best that I can be, and to just have them not make the choices that I made. And also just to teach them to forgive. Because we're not going to always get it right as parents.
Right.
And so, again, I just want them to see, again, just feel the love that I have for them. And to know that I'm trying to be a better father, that I do truly want to be there. But again, I just can't say it. I have to physically, I have to do it. And that's what I'm working on, like I said, to do that.
being more intentional, just trying to be a better father, that's all that counts, really. You can only do the best you can, but at least that you got that opportunity, that conversation with your older son, and then your intention is that you do want to have that relationship with your younger son too. So and I hope that everything pans out well for that too. But
my older son, me and him are a lot different because he can open up to me and tell me how he feel. I couldn't do that with my dad.
Yeah.
And again, I believe it was because of a lot of the fear that was instilled, just a lot of the violence that he instilled in me, kind of made me fearful of him.
Yeah.
Of course, me and my older son, I've never had any type of fear like that instilled in him. So I believe that's why he's able to open up. And I was thankful and glad that he was able to open up again, because I know how holding things inside, how it can explode later on down the road.
Right.
So just seeing him being able to open up like that today and just tell me how he truly felt really made me feel good.
Yeah.
Because that's something I've never been able to do.
Yeah. So. See, I definitely love those moments. And then when I was hearing you mention what your son had said about his brother too, I had a recent moment with my brother. One of my younger brothers, I've never really got to spend time with him. Even being transparent, like most of my siblings, we have that of a distance, even when we're not that far from each other, but growing in separate households and things, it can often do that. But I love the way that you're wanting to still make sure that your children is that they're having the opportunity, or at least you're wanting to have those moments to where they're together in some shape, way, or form. So, with my brother, he was even telling me last night, he was like, "Hey, Dad has always wanted us to have a relationship and things like that." And he was like, "I want to have that moment with my siblings. Let's meet up. If we're out of state, let's get together, even if it's just for a day." So I'm glad that your son wants to have those relationships with his other brother, and that you're have that. Just trying to be intentional and making sure that your children are a major part of your life, and that they are having those moments together too, eventually. So now I wanted to talk about, now that we're on the subject of parenting, fatherhood, breaking generational patterns. So I wanted to get into that. What are some cycles you are determined to break for your sons? I know you were just mentioning about the kind of how you had the moments with your dad. You didn't want that similar thing with your son. So what else, do you want to break that relationship with your sons?
I would say, again, even though I told you my older son is, more open, but just because I grew up, again, holding in a lot of things. So I don't know if my youngest son is a person like that. I know my older son is not. But I want to make sure that I'm breaking that cycle to giving them the space to feel free and to feel comfortable that they can come speak to me about anything.
Yeah.
So that they can, again, hold those things inside and they explode on down the road in ways that you don't want them to explode. So just things when it comes to that, loving yourself more. Relationships, just being careful, just learn, and that's another thing that I struggle with still to this day, learn how to be alone. I mean, you guys spoke about that.
Yeah.
So I really want to, help them with that, to learn how to be alone, that you don't, and to love yourself.
Right.
Because if you don't, again, you end up doing, I don't want them to repeat the patterns that I repeated, getting out of one relationship, jumping into another relationship, I don't want to jump to that, because it's bad for you. It's not healthy for you. So just things like that, and just, like I said, just being able to show up,
right,
so that they can be, once they have kids, they'll know how to show up for their kids, and just be able to learn how to love properly as well.
Okay, so you want them to have that that openness, that space to be free to speak on certain things with you, have basically like a safety net, a safety trust with you, and then also be able to know to love yourself. You don't always have to be in a relationship to get love. You can start by loving yourself. So that's something that you wanted to break that cycle of, having, what can I say, just being so dependent within the realm of needing someone else in a relationship, or even that of family members per se. You don't, of course you need the love from your family, but at the same time you have to start by loving yourself as well. So that will go more and even more into the aspect of healing and faith too, because you have to be able to be grounded in that, loving yourself, and then that's a part of healing. So when you go through healing and faith, there is also a part of forgiving yourself too at some point. So I wanted to talk about that. So self-forgiveness, it is one of the hardest journeys. A lot of people have that's one of their hardest parts of their journey. So what did that process actually look like for you?
To self-forgive?
Yeah.
I would say that started when I was in therapy. So when I went to rehab last year, I was speaking with my therapist, and we was just talking through certain situations that I've been through in my life. And just by her telling me that, just to know that it was not my fault, of things that I had went through, as far as a lot of the abuse in my house. I was seeing my mom being abused and my dad abusing me, that it wasn't my fault, because I always thought that maybe I was the problem. Why? It was always a question why do they not love me? Am I not good enough? Why are they showing my sister that type of love? So I always thought I was the problem, but I had to learn to forgive and learn that, like she was saying, I can't keep walking around blaming myself for what they had done.
Yeah.
So I had to realize, and just I had to learn how to forgive myself and realize that, it's not my fault that they thought the way they thought, that they treated me the way that they treated me. Even in my relationships, when I did domestic violence, I had to learn to forgive myself too. And not, that was even though that was my doing, and I take ownership of everything I did with it, it was wrong. And like I said, every girl whether two women I did that to, I apologized to them and asked for their forgiveness. But again, I had to realize by asking for their forgiveness and then forgiving myself, it helped me to free myself more. Because even though I was the perpetrator, doing the domestic violence, I had to realize even if I kept feeling that guilt on myself, it would keep holding me down. So I had to free myself by forgiving myself, and I don't forgive myself by asking them for their forgiveness as well.
Right. So also I wanted to go into your other avenues into your life, such as filmmaking and your advocacy work that you've done. So mental health. As a mental health advocate, what is something that our community still struggles to talk about openly? What do you think that is?
I think I would say we still struggle with just letting people know when we're actually going through something. Again, we holding it, and I would majority, and like I said, I know it, and I'm not trying to take away from any gender, but especially men, we tend to hold a lot of things in. So I think us as men the most tend to struggle in the community when it comes to dealing with mental health. Again, because we was taught to be the superheroes, taught to be the strong guys. That's what we was taught to not cry, when we fall in the house, when we was little, real men don't cry, boys don't cry. We was taught things like that. So I would just say just reaching out, and again, that goes for men and women, just being able to reach out for help or have the courage to reach out for help.
Yeah.
I would say that's one of the things that have been, that's still a struggle within the community on today, just opening up, just telling people that they actually need help.
Okay. All right. So being able to be more open, and just expressing that you do need the help, and
because they have to realize that people have to realize we all go through things, and it don't make you weak to ask for help.
right.
It don't make you weak to ask for help at all. Like, if you need help, if you see that you are dealing with something, like, truly reach out and get help. And that even goes to always, and we learned that a lot in therapy, like, check in with people. Ask how they doing, again, because we might be smiling on the outside, but we might really be hurting on the inside.
Right.
So it helps to check in with people, to ask people from time to time, how are you doing? How are you feeling? You never know. Sometimes a person might open up to you and, let you know how they feeling. But just doing those little things always can make a difference, and you never know. It can possibly save one life, again, because somebody it happened with me. I was on the verge of suicide. But just when somebody had said something to me, it changed my whole mindset, which led me to reaching out and going to get therapy, even checking myself into mental health rehab, just because she checked on me. To ask me was I okay when I wasn't doing okay.
And that was the actress that you're speaking of from the book that you...
Well, so that was one of my cousins, but the actress that I was speaking from the book, at that time too, I was getting ready, like I was on the end it all.
Yeah.
And I felt, and like I said, I felt she wasn't even gonna reach back out. Just like with her being on the type of level she is, but she did reach out, and that meant so much to me because I felt like I didn't have anybody else to talk to. But I would see her little post and how she would, always advocate for mental health and speak about God. So I reached out to her, and then we connected from that day forward. Like I said, you just never know just by being nice or just checking on people or just willing to give the time.
Just being a good person.
Yeah, because we got 24 hours in the end of the day. So even just 2 minutes, just check on them, ask how they doing. You never know, it can save a life.
Yeah. Well, and even into that, in closing, I did want to ask you about encouragement. So to future authors or even those within mental health advocacy, someone that's going through it, if someone has a story inside of them, but they're afraid to tell it, what would you say to them?
I would say tell your story.
Yeah.
It's your story. You own it. You know what you dealt with. You know what you went through. You know how you feel. You know your heart. You got to realize that people going to have their own opinions. Let people have their own opinions. Mm-hmm. But if you know that truly down inside that you have a story that you want to share, and that you feel like you want the world to hear and need to hear, then share that story, regardless of what people gonna say. Like I said, it's things I write about in that book that I know that I'm gonna get a lot of backlash for, but I don't care. Again, because it's my story and I own this story. But you know what? It have really shocked me, even from some family members that read the book. It really shocked me of the support that I've gotten that I never thought. I thought I'd be being judged, but actually that tell me that they actually dealt with same situations that I've written in the book. So that's one thing that I would say, just be able to share your story, because you never know who else can relate. It's a lot of things that you spoke about on the live reads that I didn't know that you went through that you said you can relate to in the book. Yeah. Like I said, you never know you got to realize that what you go through, you never know who else might be going through or who else might be dealing with or have dealt with it. So again, just be a voice. We got enough evil and negative in this world. So if you feel like that you have a story that you want to share that can help somebody, or you want to write about your life or be an author, just go out and do that. Like I said, you never know what difference. And again, like I always say, you never know who life you can save. It only takes one. Like you
Each
just to
one
do one. Just by your word in that book, or just by what you wrote. You never know what your words can do. Yeah. Just to save somebody.
Yeah. Well, I love that you stated that, and like you say, you never do know. So, Jamar, the very last question is, what is next for you? What is next for Jamar Bruce?
What's next for me? Well, my last film was in 2020, my short. I did the book. I did the mental health, create the life I want event.
Yeah.
I did that, so I said I want to go back. I did the little documentary, which is about the book, but I didn't actually film it. Somebody actually had filmed it. Mm-hmm. But what's next for me? Again, I'm going back to doing more filmmaking. So again, I haven't did a film since 2020. So this year I'm
what's the name of that film again?
It was called, you talking about 2020?
Yeah.
No Escape. So that was about a lot dealing like with domestic violence, alcoholism in the household. Mm-hmm. You can find that trailer as well on YouTube. Just type in No Escape Jamar Bruce and that trailer will pop up on YouTube. But again, I'm going back into filming this year, so I am in pre-production for a film called Twisted Love. So we're currently in the casting stages right now.
Okay, y'all heard that? Casting stages.
Casting stages.
He's currently in the casting stages.
So,
I will be putting my casting calls.
So I'm very excited about that. I want to do something different this year. I want to take it to Atlanta. So we will be filming in Atlanta, Georgia. So again, I'm looking forward to that. And it's a different twist, a different style of what I usually do, the type of films I usually do. Okay. So I'm kind of stepping out of my comfort. Yeah, changing up a little bit. So I'm kind of stepping out of my comfort zone. And I've had so far over, I think last night I was checking like 392 actors in Atlanta. Well, in Atlanta and then surrounding areas that have submitted. Of course, I have to go through all those different submissions and then invite them to submit their audition tapes. But so far, it looks very exciting. I'm very excited about everything. And hopefully be able to be in some film festivals. And then after I complete the short film, I do want to eventually turn it into a feature film. So that's just a little bit what I'm doing. So I'm just focused on that, and then again continue to heal, continue to try to heal, because again, healing is a journey. Just because you go to therapy, just because you get out of therapy, does not mean you're okay. You have to continue to do the work, because again, life will continue to happen.
Good. Well, Jamar, I want to thank you so much, not only for coming onto the show, but for being able to bear your all, giving your truth. You guys, I didn't get to show the book earlier, but this is the book. It is Built From Brokenness, and that is by Jamar Bruce. This is him bearing all, teaching about or giving parts of himself, overcoming childhood trauma, battling depression, PTSD, and anxiety, giving his telling about his things that he dealt with in pain, but how he was able to turn that pain into purpose. So you guys go purchase this book, whether you get it for yourself or for a family member or just have it on your shelf. He has a part of it, that book is a workbook as well, so it's very much efficient and appreciated.
And also be sure to follow the Instagram Built From Brokenness, or you can just type in Jamar Bruce, but it's Built From Brokenness. Be sure to follow the Instagram for all, because I do also, that's what I meant to mention as well. Also, I do hope to do, and I do plan on doing more speaking engagements and a tour as well with the book, to get out and do more advocating and do speak on panels with the book this year as well. So I do have that in the works as well.
Perfect. All right. Well, we're definitely going to be on the lookout for that. So you guys go ahead and look at that. Go ahead and get that book. Make sure you like, share, follow Jamar Bruce, Deniese IncTRU as well. But we want to thank you so much, Jamar, for really taking the time, not only through your book and coming here, but just for being who you are. Continuing to live in your truth, and for allowing us to shine a light on it. I'm so happy to be that, even if it's a small part or a big part of the journey. I'm happy to have been a part of it, and to get to know you and to have you on the show. So this has been another Serene Saturday with your girl Nisi from Deniese IncTRU, and as always, be well in wellness and in love.
Light, it shines so bright.